Hey YouTube people, BWCummins here. I had filled up most of this sketchbook before Inktober. So I was going to do a little sketchbook tour. I've said this before, I haven't filled many sketchbooks all the way through. I have dozens around and I'll lose them or give up on them and they're just, partially filled and I'll move on to the next one. I haven't done a lot with the toned paper and I really enjoy it, so I did a illustration for every page, or a drawing for every page of this one. And so let's go through it and see. It started off pretty strong. I was feeling ambitious one evening, so big Johnny Cash fan. So I just thought, hey, let's try out this toned paper, and I had my new white ballpoint pen, Jelly Roll 8. And so I just went at it real quick and sketchy, you can see, but had a good time with this Johnny Cash portrait, and it wasn't my style going into this. My style kind of changed with it because I enjoyed so many aspects of it. Spent about an hour and a half on this guy. Yeah, I think it turned out all right. It looks like the picture, so that's always a win. So then I'm going to, I don't know what to draw. Like when I do these daily drawing posts, I hardly ever have an idea before I sit down. And this one, I certainly didn't have an idea, so you just start putting some lines. You notice, my style is googly eyes, kind of a new school style, and, a hard reflection in the eyes, and they always look this similar anyway. And so I'll start there sometimes, or I'll start with a little, I think I started with the feet here, and it, turned into a terrible T-Rex, kind of an adolescent T-Rex, to where it's trying to be ferocious, but it's kind of cute. Not my favorite thing that I've ever drawn, but it's complete, and it fulfilled what I set out to do that evening. Probably spent about 20 to 25 minutes on this one, just because it was ballpoint, and that takes a little longer to build up shading. Let's see, next I was thinking of like a cat that knows that it's expensive and just sits there and looks at you all weird and wonky-eyed, and expects to be worshipped. I don't know why I was thinking of that kind of cat, but so I just drew one. Again, working with ballpoint pen, and I think I was using, you know what I found is this little guy. This is a pencil that is made for sewing, so you can mark on fabric, and so it barely puts a line. So if you want really light, you got to build up, and the lead in it is so soft that you end up clicking through almost a whole thing of lead for a drawing, especially like this one. But I like it. It works great on black paper if you don't want to use ink, because you can get softer highlights, softer graduations. I found that and just decided to try it. It's for sewing, called Fawns and Porter, and you can buy the lead separately. It's not cheap, but I don't use it very often, so that was kind of I like misusing equipment to get the effect I want. Next we have, probably didn't have an idea going into this one. That's usually when I'll end up drawing stupid unicorns. This one's having a good time blowing bubbles. If you go back and watch these speed drawings, his hands were doing something else before I started inking, and then I just drew him blowing bubbles. And this hand was definitely either not there or doing something else, and I thought, hey, let's have him holding the bubble. What is that, a jar? Container? Plastic, so I don't think it's a jar. Stupid looking unicorns, one of my favorite things to draw. A ballpoint pen, and this one is the Jelly Roll. Another go-to default for me is old people. I like drawing old people. This guy's on the beach with his dolphin shorts doing some skating. All these are exercise. So it's like, hey, what can I do with hair? I was just starting to use these Jelly Roll pens, so I wanted to experiment with drawing reflections, and I do like lanky bodies. Old lanky bodies are awesome, especially when you're drawing with crosshatch or whatever. You can get some good wrinkles. Skates were fun to draw. I like this drawing, but again, didn't set out to draw it, so what does that say about me? Okay, next we have an orangutan. Could have put some color on this, and I guess it would have made it more obvious that he's squeezing an orange. No explanation. I think I actually started, I'd have to go back to the drawing, but I may have started like right in the body region. I don't remember for sure, but having him squeeze orange juice, I probably just thought, oh, he's orange, what would he be doing? That's weird. And again, this was more about, and this is how you should draw. Don't necessarily think you have to go into drawing something specific. Look at it as, hey, I want to draw an action. And in this one, I did kind of want to, what would it look like if he was violently squeezing an orange, trying to get orange juice into a little cup. He's not holding on to anything, but yet he's in the air. It doesn't make sense, but the action on this one was way more important than what it was. I wanted this tension. I wanted that action. I wanted I don't know why I wanted an orangutan, but they're fun to draw. So don't limit yourself to, hey, I'm going to draw this. Say, why don't you come up with an idea instead and say, I'm going to draw this action, and then whatever comes out. Then we have, I had zero idea. I sat here and probably stared at the paper for a long time on this one. It's got a lot of my go-to things, you know, your big eyes. And I thought, well, hey, what would a little tortoise look like if it was tall, like if it had long legs? Because you always see them all close to the ground, and it didn't look that much different. I kind of like it. I would like to have this as a pet if I was going to have a tortoise, because it looks like it could get around. Actually, though, that might be a little freaky, and if a tortoise is running at you, maybe that wouldn't be a good thing, even if it was just because it likes you. So yeah, I went into this with nothing to draw and just ended up drawing another goofy animal. This reminds me, this reminds me of what I would draw back in high school. I used my sewing pencil, barely, just to get a little bit of some tones. I don't know, this was more about an expression, like this guy is either making fun of or thinks he's got a lot going on. Again, when you don't have anything to draw and you start putting marks on paper, sometimes this is what you get, and I apologize. Flaky. I really did not set out to draw anything, but once I got the shape down and it was looking a little too much like a poop, I decided, well, I don't want it to be a poop, so I started putting some textures in there like a croissant. Even when I was thinking of a croissant and I kept drawing, it still looked like a turd. So I wrote flaky in his hand, and now that just makes me think of a flaky, dried out turd. Does not look like a croissant at all. This is a fail, but hey, I got the expression, I got the cool 80s glasses, I got to do some reflection, got some cool Vans going on, so this guy was in the 80s in my mind, so yeah, I got that part. So it's an 80s croissant turd, I guess. Now I can't remember the name of the animal that's an eagle's head and a lion's body. It's gonna come to me and I can't think of it right now, but it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I thought, well, hey, let's keep the bird and the feline, but do a like the Sphinx bald cat, the hairless cat, and some plucked chicken wings, and like a turkey vulture's head, because they have the same kind of wrinkles as the Sphinx cat. And so why not? I just drew this because it was weird, and I enjoy drawing weird things, and it's a little bit disturbing. I still wish I could think of the name of the creature that I was drawing. It just totally escapes me, and then as soon as I'm done recording, I'm gonna go, but whatever. I think I just watched a documentary about the cosmonauts, and I know they all used animals. They tested on animals, and probably so did we a lot in our space program. And so I thought about, if this, and I didn't portray it, this looks like it could just fade out of sight, but I meant it to look like it was broken, and this dude, this monkey or whatever he is floating off into space, and therefore is pretty concerned reaching out for the spaceship or whoever's with them. This one was all about, as you can tell, perspective. Like, can I draw this hand this close and have the rest of them go back and blah, blah, blah. And I really like this one. I spent the time with, I'd just gotten some decent quality blue ballpoint pens, and really spent the time building up the ink, trying to be, I don't mind sketch, but I don't want it to be like, so, trying to be a little more intentional about keeping the blends soft, and it's strong contrast. If you go back and watch this video, you'll see that these feet were doing something else in the pencil sketch, and maybe even this arm, and I worked it all out in the ink process and changed it a lot. The one thing I wasn't satisfied with is I was trying to imply that the helmet had lighting on the inside, and I didn't get that. And also that gel pen did not want to go over the ballpoint ink, and so I couldn't build up enough of a reflection on the glass. But again, all in all, I really enjoyed this one, and I do think it achieved what I set out to do, and it's a little more dramatic than my other stuff, and also a little more involved. I spent a little more time on this one, but it was worth it. After all that, the night before, I said I can't stay up late again, so I just drew a thing, just a creature with, it's this guy, no body, he's just all mouth. Wouldn't want to see this guy in my dark bedroom at night, but whatever. Then we moved away from ballpoint for a while, or at least for this night. I was using that sewing pencil, so my highlights are a little lighter. It looks like I went in with the gel pen to get these eyeball highlights a little lighter, but just working with fur. This is an anteater, and he's got the ants coming to him somehow, so it's a successful anteater, I would say. The drawing is just so-so. I got a little tired back here and lazy, and you can tell. one of my go-tos. I like drawing reptiles. You'll see a lot of lizards and frogs and whatnot in my daily, these are all daily doodles. That's how I would call them, daily drawings and doodles. And so you'll always see these guys. And this guy is, well, he's maybe given his tongue a rest, I would say. It looks like this thing's seen better days. And so he's using chopsticks for his bowl of flies. Tried to keep the shading nice and soft and, you know, not harsh. And got my gel pen in there for some highlights, yeah, that's what it is, for some highlights. And you know, just a quick thing. I don't know if I'm a big cat fan or not, but I guess I'm all right with cats and all right with dogs, but I end up drawing a lot of cats. And this one, we've had a lot of cats that are big. They are well fed and don't get outside, so they you know, look like this, like me. Anyway, so this guy's just found some sunlight and is just chilling and keeping an eye out for trouble, but for the most part, just having a permanent vacation right there. This one, I was thinking for the, there's a character design challenge that I like to participate in, but it's only been a couple of months, so I've only done a couple. And this is a marshmallow warming his buns by the fire. I went on to do, and you can see the video for I colorized them like in Photoshop, and I didn't like it as much as I liked the simplicity of this. In the Photoshop that I took, I scanned this in, I put them on standing on rocks around a fire, and I have the forest in the background, or at least implied forest. But this one, I don't know, just the simplicity of it I like better. And the theme for this character design challenge was like dessert or sweets or candy. So I was doing the marshmallow who's roasting his buns by the fire. And I really enjoyed this. I like the character, I like everything about it, how happy he is, and you know, little butt cheeks. Back to micron pens and the gel pen. In one of the episodes, I think it's episode 2 or 3, or 2 and 3, Yoda gets a little active and finally starts showing what he's capable of as a Jedi. We'd all been waiting for it. And I was just thinking, what if he got a little too fancy and, you know, has those ears sticking out and swinging and doing flips? What if he chopped off his ear? And so he's just a little aggravated at himself for not being careful. Big Star Wars fan, so you'll see a lot of Star Wars coming through. You saw some in my Inktober reveal, and you'll see more. And then we were getting towards Inktober, and Inktober is October, so I was starting to think of Halloween, and I probably started with the pumpkin here. I don't know, I'd have to go back and watch the video. You should go back and watch the video, and you can see where I started. But I wanted to have, you know, a little kid in his jammies, and his head is a pumpkin, and yeah, this, and there's no point to it except for it's just a little bit weird and a little bit disturbing, and that's a little bit Halloween to me, so had fun drawing it. I had just gotten a bunch of colored ballpoint pens, Papermate, Inkjoy, and these come in, I think I got like 24 colors, and so I wanted to try those out. That's why I did this, just to do some color with ballpoint pens, because it was nearing October and Halloween season. Hey, look, more cats. You ever have that kitten that's like really annoyed and is like all set to jump, and he thinks he's totally like a badass, but it's just a stupid kitten? So I thought in his mind he thinks he's like pretty cool with his leather jacket, and we just see it as some funny little thing that's gonna pounce. So anyway, had fun doing this. This is a good thing to practice for you artists who are trying to improve, using directional lines so that you can imply fur and get your shading all done at the same time. The challenge with that is I didn't know what to do for the jacket, so I just did, like, to do this, it does look like fur, but this does not look like a leather jacket because of the lines, but I think it gets the point across. So, but directional shading is a great thing. It works on a lot of different things. And I was obviously having fun with it, so the next day, this was more of a concept drawing. I thought Barrel of Monkeys is a game that's been out forever. I mean, it's a vintage game. I don't think it's very fun. I don't even know if they sell it except for nostalgia. But I thought maybe they could revamp this game by Barrel of Baby Sloths, because who doesn't like baby sloths? They're so cute. And so I was kind of working out what they'd have to look like so that you could hook their claws together and hang them. Any excuse to draw a baby sloth. Okay, now we're getting really close to Inktober and October. I had Halloween on the brain and just wanted to do a quick little, love my sneaker drawings and love drawing the tube socks. You've seen that on a few things. And again, don't forget, you can go back and watch all of these. They're on my YouTube channel. They're very short, usually under a couple of minutes. And this one, I just wanted to draw a jack-o'-lantern, but it was more about the action. It was more about two I like drawing things that make you think of noises. Like, I don't know how you interpret this slurping noise, but in my mind, this being pulled out makes a very specific sound, and that's one of my favorite things to do, is draw something that makes you think of a sound or a smell. Like, how can I draw something that kind of takes you out of just looking at something and you can actually hear it or smell it? To me, it's always been one of my favorite things to do since I was young. Instead of writing out the sound effect, it's that onomatopoeia. Instead of doing that, can I draw it enough to where you actually hear the squish and the whatever, and you interpret that sound in your head, and that's fine. It might be different than it is to me, but as long as it provokes something. So that was the whole point of that, is just to draw a sound. And this guy, we're getting full on into macabre Halloween time in my head. I've never drawn this guy, the Plague Doctor. Did a little reading about him, but I thought maybe in his going around and collecting bodies and warning people about the plague and whatever he did, I've read so many different things that I'm sure someone will correct me. Because I already have tried. This mask is supposedly stuffed with flowers, and so someone called me out and said, why would he be sniffing a flower? And I thought, well, that's because it's funny that this guy would be sniffing a flower with a fake nose. It's just kind of to put you off balance and be a little silly. No need to correct me on what these guys do or anything. I just drew it because it was interesting to look at. I think this guy would make a good sticker too, or tattoo. I watched the end of E.T. One night, the last few minutes, and just couldn't get it out of my head, and I like drawing weird looking people. So this is Elliot and E.T. kind of reimagined a little bit. You can see his little heart glowing. This would be the time when he was about ready to take off in his spaceship at the end when he came back to life. This is totally not my style. I had gotten some Copic copy markers, not real, but a cheap set of fake Copic markers, and so this was an experiment to see what they could do, and I'm really not the kind of guy to do the rosy nose and all that stuff, but it just happened, and I liked it. So then I started thinking about that in my future drawings with color. So just capturing his little kidness, I think I did, and I don't know what I captured of E.T. except for his E.T.ness, but that's why I had watched that night, so it was fresh in my head. Okay, so every once in a while you do a drawing that you hate, and again I was experimenting with those markers, the fake Copics, and drew a Sasquatch chewing on his toenails because, you know, hey, he doesn't have toenail clippers, so not very happy about the drawing, especially the color. It was quick and simple, and that was on purpose. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but not really happy with this guy. I do plan on revisiting Sasquatch as a subject matter in the future because I think it's a fun thing to draw. Baby animals, I like them, so I drew this young giraffe who's interested in, I don't know, maybe a surveillance camera and coming up to sniff it, and it was just a quick from my head giraffe. Like, I wasn't looking at a reference for this, so I forgot about the little nubbins, even the little horns, even though they would have been small for a young giraffe, they would have been there. So I totally forgot about those, but and the patterning I just made up. I don't know. I don't think you're gonna get confused about what this is. This is a baby giraffe, even if I did, you know, not nail it. I wanted to do a mashup. Those are fun every once in a while. It's good exercise for you people who are learning to draw. To take a few different animals and mash them up and think about how they'd go together, and it also, you get to draw different textures. This is a unicorn, seahorse, mermaid, and it was all about just combining the textures, and like I'm compelled to draw some kind of a unicorn every 5 or 6 drawings, so I don't know why. So this was just a little change. You know, it's got a lot of texture. I like that it kind of looks like you could pick it up off the page. I'm always trying to achieve that, so it has some shape to it. Yeah. It was just an opportunity to try some different textures and transparent fins and stuff like that. Unicorn, seahorse, mermaid, maybe the first one ever drawn. Who knows? This was right before Inktober. I was tired. I just wanted to do a quick drawing, and so I did that reverse thing. Instead of the owl licking the lollipop's licking the owl to find out how long it'll take to get to the chewy center. Kind of gross, but kind of funny. I was, in my recent drawings, I've been putting white down first and then color on top. This one I didn't, and so it kind of washed out the color of the lollipop. That would be the only thing. And I did go on the actual intro net and look up how they spelled 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, because I thought it would be more funny. It wasn't more funny, it was stupid, but I did, you know, enjoy drawing a concept. And it's kind of gross because is he really gonna bite into that guy after 3? And then we got to Inktober, so that's day 1 of Inktober. Wow. So, you know, I just had a few drawings in here that I wanted to show. I think I was halfway through the book. It looks like about halfway, and really enjoyed filling this guy up. 50 drawings, hardly ever do that. So this is just a sketchbook tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it inspires you to draw every day. These are all clean drawings. You know, there's not a lot of sketchiness around them because I intended to go draw a thing, but I would encourage you to fill your pages. If you have one nice sketchbook that you want to do, you know, individual drawings per page on, like, I don't know, that's great. But also have other sketchbooks so that you can just fill them up with little senseless stuff. So that's what I have a bunch of sketchbooks for. So I don't feel like if I want to keep this one and this one with one illustration per page or one drawing per page, I've got others that I can just sketch ideas and plan, you know, make a little plans. If I am setting out to draw something specific and I can't quite visualize how it's going to be laid out, then I can just draw 60 of them on a piece of paper before I go to my final that I'm going to post, that I'm going to video and post on YouTube. Hope you enjoyed looking at that stuff. You can go back and see all those short videos on my YouTube channel. And if you want to do me a favor and like and subscribe, you'll notice I think I'm on 89 drawings and only 80 followers. This is a new channel. I would love to hit 100 subscribers when I hit 100 drawings. Well, I've only got 10 drawings to do, but I need 20 subscribers. So please hit that subscribe, make comments, tell me, give me ideas, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and thank you and have a great day.